The knock came at midnight. 3 soft taps, spaced evenly, deliberate. It wasn't the kind of knock that comes from a stranger. It was the sound of someone who knows you, who's terrified of what they're about to say. I was sitting on the couch, surrounded by half-packed wedding decorations, still wearing the silk robe Emily had given me at my bridal shower earlier that night. I remember staring at the door for a full minute before I stood up, heart pounding, unease crawling through my chest. When I opened it, the world fell apart. Michael stood there, my fiancé, my future husband. His face was pale, his eyes bloodshot, and rain was dripping from his hair onto his shirt collar. He looked like he'd been crying. Behind him, half in shadow, was Liam, his best friend, the man who'd introduced us 5 years ago. I froze, clutching the doorframe. Michael. What happened? He didn't answer right away. His hands were shaking as he held his phone out toward me. The screen glowed in the dark hallway. For a second I thought maybe someone had died. Maybe his mother. Maybe Liam's sister. Then I saw the video. Bed. A woman's back arching in the dim light. Her laughter, breathy, familiar, horribly recognizable. A hand brushing a necklace that looked exactly like mine. For one wild moment I thought it was me. I thought maybe he was showing me some sick prank or a video from when we'd first started dating. Then the woman turned her head, and my entire body went numb. It wasn't me. It was Emily. Her hair, her voice, her necklace. The same one she'd borrowed from me for good luck last week. My best friend since college. My bridesmaid. The person I'd trusted with every secret, every fear, every joy. Could barely breathe. My voice came out like glass breaking. What is this? Michael's lips trembled. His eyes filled again, but not with regret, with something worse. Acceptance. Sarah, he said quietly, his voice splintering. I love her. For a second the words didn't make sense. I heard them, but they didn't connect to meaning. The world tilted, and I felt the floor disappear beneath me. The ring on my finger suddenly burned, heavy, wrong. My heart pounded so hard I thought I might pass out. Liam stepped forward, his face tight, guilt spilling out of him like blood from an open wound. Sarah, I tried to stop it, he whispered. I told him to tell you. I told both of them. Both. I repeated, my voice a raw whisper. He didn't answer. Michael just stood there, shaking his head, muttering, I didn't mean for this to happen. Didn't mean. I laughed. Hollow, broken. You didn't mean to sleep with my best friend. Michael flinched like I'd struck him. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? I demanded, tears blurring my vision. Tell me what part of it wasn't like that, Michael. He said nothing. Just stood there, looking like a man who'd already chosen his punishment. Something inside me cracked open. I ripped the ring off and threw it across the floor. It clattered against the tile, bouncing once before disappearing under the couch. Get out, I said. My voice was quiet, eerily calm. Both of you. Liam tried to speak, but I slammed the door before he could. The next sound I heard was rain. Then the sound of my own breathing, harsh and uneven. When I finally looked at the clock again, it was 2:47 a.m. The house felt alien. Every photo, every piece of furniture, every flower on the kitchen counter mocked me. The room smelled like him. His cologne, his skin, his betrayal. I walked to the bathroom and stared at myself in the mirror. My mascara had smeared, my lips were trembling, and my eyes were swollen, but I didn't cry anymore. I just stared until I couldn't recognize the person looking back. Then I grabbed a suitcase, filled it with enough clothes for a week, and left. I didn't return for months. I stayed with a cousin 2 towns away, avoiding calls, deleting messages before reading them. I blocked both of them, Michael and Emily, and then Liam too, because his silence that night had been almost as unbearable as their confession. People kept asking what happened. I told them the wedding was off, that it was mutual, that I just needed space. Lies came easier than truth. But healing never really began. Nights were the worst. Every sound felt suspicious. Every memory twisted. I'd fall asleep thinking about the night Michael proposed to me on that frozen lake, the way Emily had cheered behind the camera. I'd wake up remembering that she'd probably been sleeping with him even then. I stopped wearing perfume because his favorite scent made me sick. I stopped answering unknown numbers. I stopped believing that love could exist without deceit hiding somewhere beneath it. A year passed. Then another. I moved to a smaller city and started taking freelance work as a photographer. Weddings, engagements, family portraits. Things that paid the bills but hurt to look at. I'd watch couples kiss in front of my lens, their joy blinding, and wonder how many of them were already lying to each other. Eventually the ache dulled. It didn't go away. It just went quiet, like a wound that had scabbed but never healed underneath. Then one morning 5 years later, as I sat editing photos in my tiny apartment, I saw the email. Subject: Wedding Inquiry, Liam and Emily. I blinked, reread it, and then laughed. A hollow, disbelieving laugh that echoed in the empty room. It wasn't possible. It couldn't be. I opened the message. It was polite, professional, formal even. Dear Sarah, it began. We found your website and adore your work. We're getting married next month and would love to book you as our photographer. Liam and Emily. I stared at their names for a long time. My stomach twisted, and my fingers hovered over the delete button. I could end it right there. Pretend I never saw it. But something deeper, something darker made me stop. They had no idea the email had reached me. They didn't know I'd started using my maiden name for work. To them I was just another photographer. Maybe fate was cruel. Or maybe it was handing me a chance to face what I never got to finish. Before I could change my mind, I typed 3 words. I'm available. Sarah. When I hit send, I sat back and exhaled. My hands trembled, but my heart was steady. 5 years of silence were about to end. The vineyard stretched across the hills like something out of a dream, rows of gold and green under a soft, honey-colored sun. It should have been beautiful, peaceful even. But as my car pulled into the gravel lot and I saw the familiar name on the welcome sign, the Dawson wedding, the air thickened like smoke in my throat. I sat there for a moment, watching people walk toward the main hall, dressed in soft pinks and creams, carrying laughter I didn't feel part of. My fingers gripped the steering wheel, but my chest was calm. Calm. Maybe because I wasn't here for closure anymore. I was here to see the ending. When I finally stepped out, camera in hand, I blended into the staff. Just another photographer documenting love. Only this time I was photographing my ghosts. Emily saw me first. She was standing by the dressing tent in a white silk robe, surrounded by bridesmaids. Her hair was shorter now, curled at the ends, a small diamond necklace glinting at her throat. Not the one she'd stolen from me years ago, but it looked almost identical. Her smile froze when she saw me. For a moment, her body stiffened as if she'd seen a spirit. Then she blinked, trying to gather herself. Sarah! She whispered, stepping closer. What are you doing here? You booked me, I said evenly. Her eyes widened. I didn't. She stopped herself, realizing how absurd it would sound. You sent the email, I continued. And I said yes. Her mouth opened, then closed again. The air between us buzzed with 5 years of unsaid words. 5 years of the kind of silence that eats you from the inside out. I didn't think, she started, voice trembling. I didn't think you'd come. I almost didn't, I said softly. But I figured someone should capture this fairy tale. Her face flushed, shame flickering through her eyes. She looked around at her bridesmaids, lowering her voice. Sarah, please. Not today. Relax, I said, lifting my camera. You paid for my time. You'll get what you paid for. She flinched when the shutter clicked. One photo, her forced smile, her panic carefully hidden beneath foundation and soft curls. That would be her first wedding picture. I saw Liam next. He was near the wine barrels, talking to the coordinator, looking older, sharper, like life had sanded down whatever warmth he once carried. When he noticed me, he froze mid-sentence. Our eyes met, and for a long second neither of us spoke. Then he walked over, hands shoved deep in his pockets. "Sarah," he said quietly, "you shouldn't be here." "Seems to be the theme of the day," I replied. He sighed. "I didn't know she'd hire me." I finished for him. "Yeah, she seems to do a lot of things you don't know about." He winced. "I'm sorry for what happened back then." "Which part?" Yes. "The cheating. The lying. The watching it all happen and saying nothing." He looked away. "All of it." Something in his tone wasn't defensive. It was hollow, worn down. The kind of guilt that had been eating him for years. "Then maybe," I said, raising the camera again, "this is exactly where I should be." The ceremony began just before sunset. Guests gathered on the lawn, facing a floral arch dripping with roses. Emily walked down the aisle looking radiant and terrified. Liam stood waiting, his hands clasped, jaw tight. Through my lens they looked like perfection. But up close perfection looked brittle. Their smiles didn't reach their eyes. Their vows shook slightly. When Liam said, "You're my best friend," the irony stung my tongue. As they kissed, I took the photo everyone wanted, the one that would hang on their wall. But my eyes lingered on their hands. Emily's fingers clutched his sleeve like she was afraid he'd disappear. His hand rested on her back but didn't move. It was the stillness of obligation, not love. When the guests erupted in cheers, I lowered my camera and whispered to myself, "Congratulations." It sounded more like an obituary. Hours later, during the reception, laughter filled the air. People danced under strings of lights, drunk on wine and happiness. I moved silently among them, snapping pictures, cataloging moments they'd one day pretend to remember fondly. Emily approached me again, alone this time. She was barefoot, holding her heels in one hand and a glass of champagne in the other. "You got what you wanted, didn't you?" she asked softly. "What's that?" "To see me miserable." I tilted my head. "You don't look miserable, Emily. You look practiced." Her throat bobbed as she swallowed. "I made a mistake. Years ago. I know that. But you were always so strong, so perfect. I was just lonely, finished, or jealous." Her voice broke. "I didn't plan to fall in love with him." "Neither did I said. She looked down, silent. Then softly, "Please don't tell Liam about Michael." That caught me off guard. "You never told him." She shook her head, panic rising. He thinks it was just an emotional thing. That we didn't actually." I laughed quietly. "Wow. 5 years married to your lie before you even said, 'I do.' That's impressive." Tears welled in her eyes. "Please, Sarah. Just let me have this day." I lifted my camera again. "Smile, Emily." "One more picture." She turned away, her shoulders trembling. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Later that night, Liam found me on the terrace overlooking the vineyard. He looked exhausted, his tie loosened, the shadows under his eyes deep. He stood beside me, lighting a cigarette, his hands shaking slightly. "I didn't know until she told me," he said after a long silence. "About you and Michael. About that night." I looked at him, expression unreadable. "What did she tell you exactly?" "That he was cold. That you two were fighting. That she was trying to help him." His voice faltered. I didn't believe it. Not really. But I didn't want to dig. I thought if I ignored it, it would fade. Did it? He laughed bitterly. "No. Poisoned everything. Every relationship I had after. Every night I tried to sleep without seeing your face." Something in his tone cracked, and for the first time, I saw not the accomplice, but the man who'd been trapped in someone else's mess. "Why did you marry her then?" Yes. He hesitated. "Because I couldn't forgive her. And I couldn't forgive myself. I thought, maybe if I stayed, I'd understand why people do the things that destroy them." "Did you?" He looked out at the dark fields. "Yeah. Because they can't stand being alone." The words hit deeper than I expected. He turned to me. "Do you still hate me, Sarah?" I raised the camera and took a picture of him, the moonlight catching his profile, the smoke curling from his cigarette. His eyes empty and tired. "I don't hate you," I said softly. "You're living my punishment for me." When I left, the wedding was still going strong. Laughter and music echoed behind me as I walked toward my car. But when I reached the hill, I stopped and looked back. Through the windows, I could see Liam and Emily dancing. From a distance, they looked perfect again. But even from here, I could tell it wasn't joy. It was survival. Two people clinging to the story they built out of broken pieces. I raised my camera one last time and took a photo. Blick. The image froze them mid-motion. Her smile, his hollow eyes, the lights behind them blurred into something ghostly. When I got home, I uploaded the photos. Frame after frame of a love story that wasn't one. But in the middle of them, I found one image I hadn't noticed before. A reflection of me in a mirror, camera in hand, standing calm, eyes clear. For the first time in 5 years, I didn't see the woman who'd been left behind. I saw the woman who'd survived it. Weeks later, a letter arrived. No return address. Inside was a printed copy of that reflection photo. On the back, in Liam's handwriting, were 6 words. "Sometimes truth deserves to be seen." I didn't cry. I didn't burn it. I just placed it in a box with the ring I once threw away and whispered, "It's over." And for the first time, it finally was.